This was a cool, cloudy, early spring morning. Recently, we had had a lot of rains, there'd been a rise in the water level of the lake, and the bite had declined when the water started to fall. I stayed off the water for a few days, but decided to get back out and see what was going on with the fish. Because I'd been off the water, I didn't have any bait in my bait tank at home, so I netted some threadfin shad, I packed some chicken, and I got out on the water and started dragging some baits. Inside planer board on the little bitty pieces of threadfin. These orange hellcat have small threadfin on them. I caught a bunch in the cast net. Couldn't find any good gizzard shad. Found these. I got those on. The green hellcats, I got chicken on. Seeing what's working here. Trying a different part of the lake. The lake has dropped back to its target elevation. It flew up due to some of the rain we had, and now it's back down in the normal range. So seeing how the fishing is, still stained. Water's warm though, we got that going for us. And this feels like a good fish. Been taking a little time off to do some turkey hunting. Grayson and I both got us a bird. Now I'm kind of back in the fishing mood. Never was really out of it. It's just, you can catch fish all year long. You got a narrow window for catching turkeys. This fish is nowhere near as big as I thought he was. He is wrapped. Got him. Get him in the boat. That fish was wrapped coming in. Got a lot of mud on him. Yeah, he was coming in all kinds of sideways. He felt bigger than he was. He felt a lot bigger than he was. Get you off of there. You lassoed, doubled up, tripled up around your fins. There's a good reason you run a heavier leader. Get in around those fins. If that had been regular line, could have cut through it. In the end, he's a good normal fish. I'm gonna get a weight and length on him. He's about 25 and a half. If I collect all this information, get it to the biologist. $25 and a half, 615. Let's get him back alive. Shoot, he gone. Now that fish came on a piece of threadfin. I had threadfin on all the orange hellcat rods. Threadfin are a great bait. The bad part is they're small. They don't provide a very large piece of bait. The other downside is they're easy to tear off the hook. But with all those negatives, everything in a river or a lake will eat threadfin shad, and when you put these baits out there, you get a good indication very quickly as to whether or not fish are feeding or they're not. Guys, I think we may be hooked up on Pinky. I was just reeling some stuff in to make a move, and yeah, I got hit on this outside rod. This is another piece of threadfin. Man, the bite is slow. We've covered a lot of water in a long time, and this is the second hookup on a fish that we've had. Spring fishing, man, it is the way spring fishing goes. So I get this planer board off here with not too much effort. It just gets, it's up and down. It's up and down. We're in a down phase. We had a good streak going there. The bite was good, catching some fish. But man, you get some cold, you get some rain, stuff changes. That's the way it goes this time of the year. The old springtime yo-yo, as I call it. But we're getting the fish, so I can't complain too much. Small fish, but happy. Hoping there was something going on here in the river section. Nothing. Now gonna be the same size, a little bit bigger than the last one, I think. 26 and a half. Yeah, I track all this information, all this data for the biologists here in the state. They've been tracking these fish for many years now, and it kind of gives them a good data pool that they can get an idea of what's going on with these fish. So length and weight, it is something. You can't really age them without killing them. 7.6, get it back alive. Now, as you can see on this trip, I am weighing all of the fish. I have been doing this last year and this year, and I did it for many years previously. This is data that I provide to the biologists in North Carolina, and they have been chronicling all this data to get a good idea, a good footprint of what is going on in Lake Wylie. I'm going to continue to do it throughout this year, and it gives them some data points. They can tell what trends are happening, whether the population is going up, the size is going up, or it's trending down. So it's something you may be able to do in your state. Reach out to your local biologist and see if it's something that can benefit them.
Got a piece of chicken, got a fish on it. Oh, it does. Man, I'm telling you, every bite I've had today has been a very subtle bite. Nothing is slamming these rods over. Something's up. Water's halfway clear here. I made a run down the lake and it looks pretty decent here. But for some reason, fishing's not on fire. I got these, reason I kept all these Threadfin, since I hadn't been out here, I believe Threadfin are a good barometer bait. Everything will eat a Threadfin. Every catfish, perch, crappie, everything eats them. They're abundant right now, and they're not getting hammered. So this was on chicken. Right there's a bad sign. There's mud on these fish. You can see it on that side, not as much on that side. It's a little one. I'm gonna get him measured and weighed and chunk him back. But that mud may be a bad sign.
Well, there you go. A fish with some mud on it. What does mud mean? Well, generally it means that the fish have become somewhat inactive, somewhat lethargic. It happens all times of the year, spring, summer, winter, and fall. During this time period, we'd had a big drop in the lake level. From some rains that had come in. They moved water out. The bite slowed down. It was a few days, but the positive note is generally when you see it and you start catching a lot of fish, the bite is generally trending better. If you've been out there fishing all day, you only catch one blue cat and he's got a bunch of mud on him, it's usually a sign you're not going to catch too many more fish.
Got one eating a Threadfin. Another smaller fish. In case you lost track, orange hellcat rods have these small Threadfin that I netted. The green rods have chicken. It is not on fire bite-wise. This is another good eater-sized fish. Yesterday's guide trip was similar to this. Luckily, they were looking for eater fish, so not any biggins. This one is a channel cat. I was honestly curious where the channel cats were. Usually when you put out the Threadfin like that, you will get pounded with channel cats. So. And even this channel cat has some mud. He's also got a funky divot in his back. Yeah, definitely got some mud on him. Get a measurement on him, about 20 inches. We're gonna get him back alive and get these baits back out.
Now, one thing I will say about using Threadfin shad, like I said, anything in the lake will eat them. Generally, I don't do really good for big fish on Threadfin shad. It's just kind of the trade-off, the downside to it. I think a lot of the bigger fish don't put as much energy into chasing Threadfin once they get large. And that's not to say that they won't eat them if they have the opportunity, but I don't think they key in on them as much. My suggestion is if all you have is Threadfin and you want to make it appear as a bigger bait, cut these things in half, cut the tails off of them, stack 4 or 5 of them onto a big 8/0 hook, and you've got somewhat of a big bait made from some little fish.
That one, guys, is a good bite. Oh, that's a good bite. It's the best bite of the day right there. It was on chicken, outside planer board. It got smashed. I always tell people on guide trip, they say, how do you know when there's fish on the planer board? Well, when the planer board goes underwater, you got a fish. I think this one may have got into the other line. I can't really tell. That's a good bite. This is the one that we had been waiting for. Look at that bend. That old hellcat's getting some pulling power there. These are the medium action rods. Nice fish. Nice fish. Get him up here where we can wrangle him. He's turning the boat. It's nice to get hit like that after having nothing but small fish today. Again, spring fishing. It's up and down. It's good and bad. Some days are better than others. You'll get into a cycle of things slowing down. I just don't think we're to the consistently good streak yet, but I think we're close. 67-degree water, pretty warm. And it's clear here, like I said. Had a lot of rain, lake came up, good fishing on the rise, they dropped it, fishing slammed to a halt, and now we're kind of back at stable water, but we got a front coming in too. It was wrapped a little bit, I just felt it pop loose. I don't like stuff popping loose. That's when stuff can go wrong. I see sinker, about 1 or 2 more lifts, and I think we'll have him up near the top. That's a good fish. That is a good fish right there. Yes, sir. That, boys and girls, is a good looking fish. All right, got a good length on him. He's about 33 inches. That's how much he weighs. Nice fish. About 22 pounds. Nice one. Good looking blue cat. Like a male. Got a little color going on. A little action going there. A little pre-spawn. Let's get him back alive.
Well, there's the big fish of the day. That was a nice one. Appears to be a male, starting to get a little darker coloring. This time of the year, the spawn's not kicking in yet, but it's around the corner. A lot of these fish, especially these fish in the teens, 20s, mid-sized fish, seem to be the first ones to kind of get active and start to get a little bit jacked up. And they're usually very aggressive, as was this fish. You know, jacked up, full of energy, good fight. Their hormones are kicking and they're ready to go. So we ended up with a good one. You know, sometimes that's the way it goes when you get these ups and downs this yo-yo fishing. You just got to be out there. You never know when it's going to get good. You never know when it's going to turn bad. But you never know until you get out there, put some baits in the water, and try to catch some fish.